write books that incorporate white lives into them substantially.
I have done.
In a substantial way.
You can't understand how powerfully racist that question is, can you? Because you could never ask a white author, when are you going to write about black people? Whether he did or not, or she did or not. Even the inquiry comes from a position of being in the center.
And being used to being in the center.
And being used to being in the center. And saying, you know, is it ever possible that you will enter the mainstream? It's inconceivable that where I already am is the mainstream.
They looked at just 12 southern states between 1877 to 1950. Turns out there were 3,959 victims of what they call racial terror lynchings.
My name is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer. It was the 31st of August in 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens.
I don't know what most white people in this country feel, but I can only include what they feel from the state of their institutions. I don't know if white Christians hate Negroes or not, but I know that we have a Christian church which is white and a Christian church which is black. I know, as Malcolm X once put it, that the most segregated hour in American life is high noon on Sunday. That says a great deal for me about a Christian nation. It means that I can't afford to trust most white Christians and certainly cannot trust the Christian church. I don't know whether the labor unions and their bosses really hate me. That doesn't matter, but I know I'm not in their unions. I don't know if the real estate lobby is anything against black people, but I know the real estate lobbies keep me in the ghetto. I don't know if the Board of Education hates black people, but I know the textbooks they give my children to read and the schools that we have to go to. Now, this is the evidence. You want me to make an act of faith, risking myself, my wife, my woman, my sister, my children, on some idealism which you assure me exists in America, which I have never seen.
They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators.
Slavery was justified morally, biologically, theoretically, scientifically, everything else. And it seems to me that white America must see that no other ethnic group has been a slave on American soil. That is one thing that other immigrant groups haven't had to face. The other thing is that the color became a stigma. American society made the Negro's color a stigma.
In my opinion, the young generation of whites, blacks, browns, whatever else there is, you're living at a time of extremism, a time of revolution, a time when there's got to be a change. People in power have misused it, and now there has to be a change, and a better world has to be built, and the only way it's going to be built is with extreme methods. And I, for one, will join in with anyone, don't care what color you are, as long as you want to change this miserable condition that exists on this earth.
What the gay rights ordinance in San Francisco, the main focus is to prevent the people who are already employed, who are gay, who, if they want to come out and break down the stereotypes, prevents them from being fired.
I am not calling the gentleman, Mr. Meadows, a racist for doing so. I'm saying that in itself, it is a racist act.
Is this the land of the free and the home of the brave? No! Is this a land with liberty and justice for all? No! Is this one nation, indivisible, under God? No! Either let us practice the democracy we are preaching, or shut up.
Well, there's no single simple meaning of the term revolutionary. A revolutionary is a man or a woman who is a lot of things, but basically the revolutionary wants to change the nature of society in a way to promote a world where the needs and interests of the people are responded to.
It doesn't take much to look on the local news every night and see how many black kids, black boys, black men are being killed with these stand your ground defenses that these people raise. Then they get off. I am a mother too. And I have a son. And I care as much for my son as y'all care for y'all's. But my son doesn't walk the same path as yours does.
FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover today asserted that the Black Panthers represent the greatest internal threat to the nation.
Every incident that have been tipped off in this country in the last 2 years up north have been tipped off by uniformed police. Now, I'm not saying the police is right or wrong. I'm saying when you have these incidents that's tipped off with this one symbol, then we should look into it and see what it is. When 22 million people, be they black or white, start hollering police brutality, then it's time to start listening to 22 million people and going in. A lot of people say, well, it's not police brutality. Police brutality is not when a cop necessarily knocks me upside the head. It's when a cop calls me nigger when he's making the arrest. It's when he handles me wrongly in every process of processing the arrest. This is a form of police brutality.
America's not unique in its sins as a country. We're not unique in our evils. I think where we may be singular is our refusal to acknowledge them and the legends and myths we tell about our inherent, goodness to hide and cover and conceal so that we can maintain a kind of willful ignorance that protects our innocence. I've had the privilege of growing up in a tradition that didn't believe in the myths and the legends because we had to bear the brunt of them.
Republicans in February blocked Senator Bernie Sanders' bill to provide $21 billion in medical and other benefits for veterans.
When our men and women come home from war, some wounded in body, some wounded in spirit, I don't want to hear people telling me it's too expensive to take care of those wounded veterans. I don't accept that. If you think it's too expensive to take care of veterans, don't send them to war.
Back in 1998, a black man, James Byrd Jr., accepted a ride from 3 white men. Instead of taking him home, they drove him down a remote Jasper County road, beat him and dragged him for 3 miles behind their pickup truck.
I am, I think, quite disgusted, really, to be honest, that as Muslim legislators, we are constantly being asked to waste our time speaking to issues that other people are not asked to speak to, because the assumption exists is that we somehow support and are for, right? No, there is an assumption. So I want to make sure that the next time someone is in an audience and is looking at me and Rashida and Abdul and Sam, that they ask us the proper questions that they will probably ask any member of Congress.
I think the only thing that's really changed is the black woman.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
Of course you can lie to me, and you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course you'll lie to me, because I don't even want to care. What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell. Because I love you, I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask of the black man? For 10 years, so that we can get a child on his feet that says, yeah, father smiled at mother. He talked to me about school today.
How many bales of cotton have you picked? How many beatings have you taken? He couldn't say nothing.
Earlier today, we heard the beginning of the preamble to the Constitution of the United States. We the people. It's a very eloquent beginning. But when that document was completed on the 17th of September in 1787, I was not included in that we the people. I felt somehow for many years that George Washington and Alexander Hamilton just left me out by mistake. But through the process of amendment, interpretation, and court decision, I have finally been included in we the people.
A boy last week, he was 16 in San Francisco, told me on television. Thank God we got him to talk. Maybe somebody will start to listen. He said, I got no country, I've got no flag. Now, he's only 16 years old. And I couldn't say you do. I don't have any evidence to prove that he does. They were tearing down his house. We're talking about human beings. There's not such a thing as a monolithic wall or, some abstraction called the Negro problem. These Negro boys and girls who at 16 and 17 don't believe the country means anything that it says, don't feel they have any place here on the basis of the performance of the entire country.
But now, Jim...
No, am I exaggerating?
No, I certainly could not say that you're exaggerating.
My name is Legacy Garner, the daughter of Jim Miller and my dad, Eric Garner. No justice, no peace.
You don't think...
Is there a sense at the White House of why the president went off message or apparently off message with the CDC today? I know that's happened before.
What's going on? What's the word? What is it, Friday? I'm just trying to put this on. Friday, it's March 7th on the East Coast, but still March 6th on the West. What's happening, everybody? Happy Friday. Happy Friday night. Some of y'all probably, let's see, it's 9 o'clock, so ain't nobody out in LA yet. Y'all still kicking it, deciding what y'all gonna do. Or about to get ready to go do what you gonna do. In New York, they're probably doing the same thing right now. I ain't really got into New York politics yet, so I don't know how it cracks out here, but more than likely, because everything stay open 24 hours today. Let me make sure I can hear, because I got this new mic for my birthday. So I got a mic and a cat. Isabel got me a mic and a cat. Isn't that sweet? Let me see what's happening. I'm going to just check to make sure I can hear myself so I won't be going forever and can't no one hear me, because I'm using this new mic to make sure it's good. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be halfway through my rant so I won't be going forever and can't no one hear me, because I'm using this new mic to make sure. Okay, we solid. It's good, you know what I'm saying? We solid. What's going on, y'all? What's up? So, you know what I thought would be a good idea? And, hold on, let me go live on IG right quick. What I thought would be a good idea? Damn, I ain't put no title. Man, I ain't put no title, God. Oh, I can't start this over. I don't even have the right title. People gonna think this is the same thing from the other day. I ain't even got no title on here, man. Damn it. I gotta get my S together, y'all. It ain't gonna even matter. I can't change the title. I can change it on YouTube though. Updates. Trump said he's a genius. Again, hey, on everything, if y'all don't think Trump should be a comedian on my mama, tell me he shouldn't be no comedian. Trump is funny. He funny. Did y'all see his press conference today when he was in Tennessee? He funny. Let's see. Coronavirus. Let me just put this. Trump is and Trump is a genius. And Donald Trump is a genius. Donald Trump is a genius. He thinks he's a genius because his uncle went to MIT. Oh man, this y'all president for real. He said my uncle went to MIT. So I know this. I have a clear, I just this stuff just comes to me like regular. You know what I'm saying? People wonder like how do they ask me all the time, how do you know that? I've never met nobody like that in my life. People try to say I'm low key a narcissist, which I'm not, but they try to say that. I ain't met nobody like Trump. I know I ain't like that. Like it's crazy. And we're going to see the videos in a minute. I'm going to get into it. I'm kind of going off. But he also said, what else did he say? he veered into, lying about the coronavirus and how they've been up on it out the gate. And then he pivoted to, it's a lie. Just like the letter, the transcript, the phone call talking about Ukraine. Oh, man. This dude is amazing. For real, he amazing. I don't know. He funny. He is funny. But anyway, y'all know this is... I'm about to say status quo. It's not status quo, but I love status quo. This is the section. So go ahead and follow us, subscribe, like the page, hit the notification bell so you can get notified. And I'm going to start, once I start, I got to optimize my page, and I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start requesting, y'all never see this because I always have this bug in the way. Let me take this bug out so y'all can see what's at the bottom of that. See that YouTube thing at the bottom of that? That's hard, huh? But I'm gonna start collecting emails and get it. First, I gotta optimize my page so I can start getting some ranking in Google's search engine and YouTube as well. Right now, I don't have no descriptions or anything for the page. I've just been going live because I want to make sure that, because I'm doing like 5 different things, trying to find a job, trying to go live and all that, and I just want to be consistent, not start and then stop. So what I'm doing is trying to just, even though I haven't wrote out the, did some copywriting on the page and then did some optimizing, I still want it to go live. So that's why if you go on YouTube right now, you can't even see, you won't even find, I don't even think you'll find the section on there. I think it's, you just won't find it. You'll find the section, everything else, but you won't find the section. You'll find Tommy though. If you go in there, you'll find Tommy. Let me see. Let me just update this. I can't believe I started, man, without the daggone thing. Cause that, titling is low key imperative when you trying to get. Cause I'm not talking about that today. It's low key imperative when you talking about when you trying to get people to watch your video. Your title and what you got in it and who's in it will kind of give you priority in the search engine. So you want to make sure you're doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't even do that, but I can change it on YouTube though. Let's see. I'm just changing my title right now. But anyway, it's Friday. What's going on? How y'all doing? I'm going to Michigan tomorrow. As we know, this week coming up is the primaries in six states. Damn, did I put that in there? I didn't even put that 6th state in there. Let me do that right quick. We got primaries in 6 states. It just should be numbers. Oh, it didn't even give it to me. I gotta get it. Let me get it right quick. Primaries on March 10th. March. So I'm doing this on the fly. I thought I had it. I did have it. Sometimes when you try to get these images, sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's it's not even the actual image. It's just a HTTP a web address. So they got Super Tuesday. I ain't looking for Super Tuesday. Looking for this Tuesday, March 10th primaries. March 10th. I'm going to put 2020. Is it not giving it to me? I see the list of the states. That's how y'all gonna do me? Hold on, I'm gonna find these states because I'm about to talk about it. I know Michigan is one of them. That's one of the most important. Bernie just went to Michigan. He skipped Mississippi, which he should have skipped that racist ass state because they ain't gonna do nothing but vote. First off, that state is going to Republicans anyway. You know what I'm saying? They do have Democrats in Mississippi, but that's just for the primary and only Democrats voting. But that's going to, period, that's going to, let me see, Michigan. Come on, man. That's going to Republicans. So Bernie made a good decision by saying, you know what, I'm not going there. Racist ass people. Period. That's how I feel about them. I ain't never been to Mississippi in my life. I ain't gonna go. You know what? I've been to Alabama before, and I thought I was gonna have to. I don't know. I was ready for whatever. I was like, man, if I'm gonna have to fight, I'm fighting because ain't nobody coming at me crazy. And low key, everybody was cool. I had a good time, and ain't nobody tripped. But I asked this lady about it where I was talking. I was like, man, I came in here thinking that something was gonna crack. And she was like, nah. She said, don't get fooled by the Southern hospitality. She was like, no, they're racist here. And this was a white lady telling me that. Low key, her boyfriend was black. That's how we got to talking because I saw how she looking at me. Hey, why do all black men, why do black men that see a white woman with a black man always thinking, oh, I can get that because she like niggas, right? That's cold-blooded. I don't know why. But we started talking, and she was telling me, she was like, nah, they racist. She said, they racist here. I'm ready to get up out of here. And she was like a younger white girl. But I didn't experience it. In my head, I was thinking, oh, well, maybe they was just putting the 2 on the 10. But they not. I didn't think they was either. I was just surprised did nothing crack. But they not. Let's see. Primaries. Tuesday primaries. What's up? Democratic primaries. March. We need to talk about what states. Because what I want to talk about is the coronavirus's impact on these elections here. And I brought this up the other day I said, you know what? People get scared about this pandemic, and it is a pandemic. We're going to talk about it. But fear will make people vote for something that they're used to because they've seen, like for Biden, I'm speaking of specifically, they've seen Biden in the White House. They've seen him, quote unquote, leadership, even though vice president is just a title, low key. We all know that. He ain't do nothing but intervene when it was a vote that was tied. But when people get fearful and they get scared, they want something that's secure. And for them, Joe Biden is secure in that regard. Like, they don't know what to do with this coronavirus. Nobody knows. There's schools. A friend of mine, Isabel, she got a text message today saying, oh, they were asking her, did they have like Wi-Fi at the house and stuff, because they may request that the kids stay home for the next week coming up, the week coming up, because of how wide it's spreading, how wide the coronavirus is spreading right now. And this is happening all over. Already in Japan, they canceled all schools. And for them, it happened last week. So in a situation where people are fearful and they don't really know what's going to happen and they just want things to be right, they're going to go for a secure vote. And a secure vote is a vote for someone that they're familiar with, regardless of how they feel about it, even regardless of Trump. If Trump was a little less of an asshole than he is right now, guaranteed this would be Trump's like 9/11. You know what I'm saying? This would be Trump's 9/11. Like 9/11 got Bush back into the office because we was in war and people don't like, statistically, historically speaking, people don't like the swift switch leadership during the time of war. So we would easily have like you'll have Democrats voting for Trump if he was less of an asshole and just wasn't so arrogant, stupid, and insufficient. I mean, he has to feel he's insufficient, y'all. He's so funny it's funny because it's like he don't really realize how childish he sounds. And sometimes he's funny, like to be funny, right? He is funny. When he tries to be funny, he's funny. You know what's crazy? He's funny. When he tries to be charming, he's charming as well. And without any awareness, self-awareness at all, he's a complete asshole and he think it's fine. And he think it's all justified. He's so just absent, you know? But I like this mic. Look at that. Feel like we doing something out here. So yeah, I'm supposed to be looking for that thing while I'm talking to y'all. Let me see. Democratic primaries. It's the primaries on the 10th, right? Oh, and, you know, he also got rid of his Secretary of State via Twitter today. Oh man, what's that? Nick Novani, his chief of staff. I'm sorry, he got rid of his chief of staff, Mick Novani. If y'all don't know who he is, he's the one that said, quid pro quo? We all do quid pro. That always happens when they was talking about Ukraine. I'm going to show you a video. We're going to talk about a few things, but let's get into it. I need to find those states right now. I know Michigan is one. That's why I'm headed to Michigan tomorrow morning. I'm going to be out there helping status quo tomorrow. Oh, I keep forgetting. If my auntie watching right now, she's going to be like, see, this is why I don't want to watch it, because you keep stopping and going. You're all over the place. And Lois, I'm not CNN. I may stop. I may go all over the place. But I guarantee I'm going to be honest. That's one thing for sure. I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be consistent. For real. Let's see. People on IG, if y'all can hear me, as they start to come up, get on IG. Go to either go to Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. Check me out. Y'all can see the graphics. So if you're on IG right now, you can only see just a green screen in my face. But go on either Twitter, YouTube. Oh, matter of fact, I'll always forget I gotta share these videos on Twitter. The section started a lot. The section? Okay, we don't want to go live on the section. We're going to go live on Tommy so we can have some people. We're going live on the section later. I'm glad I saw that. Look, our Lord's probably going off right now. What? You just told me I went live on the section. That wasn't the section. Oh, I'm tripping. All right, Twitter. Just want to share the Twitter right quick. Sometime my Twitter doesn't automatically go live like it should. Am I live right now? Nope. See? So let's go to Tommy. And share that live. So the live. Oh, somebody already shared me. I heard that retweeting. Okay, perfect. So, now we should be solid. So, let's see. Tuesday primaries. Primary states. Do y'all watch, did y'all see what happened last night with Nina Turner and the lady Annie Hall? The lady, she's a correspondent for CNN. Hillary Rosen, that's her name. Ooh, Hillary about to get it. Hillary called, what's her name, an angry black woman? You did what? No, you didn't call Nina Turner angry black woman. Is that what you said? I know that ain't what you said. Tell me that ain't what you said. You ain't called Nina Turner an angry black woman, did you? Shit, that's what Twitter thought. They went in on her. We're gonna talk about that too. Let me see. I just want to see if we got these states. Tuesday, Michigan, we have a problem. Michigan might have a problem. Bernie Sanders might have a problem in Michigan. Yeah, right. That doesn't even make sense. Get it together. Stop lying to the people. I had a very spirited, that's how white people say arguments. When you're white, when you're black, you're aggressive. Or how white people say, they had a very spirited debate. I had a very spirited debate with my aunt, with my mother. She's like my mother, Aunt Lois, and my ex-girlfriend this morning. And we were talking about Bernie Sanders, and they come with the same stuff that everybody else come with that ain't been paying attention, that just listen to the pundits on TV and things that they heard throughout the block are from older black people that just want to vote for Bernie because, they got that house nigga syndrome. What is somebody put a post of what's Samuel L. Jackson on the Django? That's for real, though. That's for real because it's not coming from nowhere. Because there's nothing that you can say in reference to Biden that he's done to address any black issues, period. In his history, period. Period. I know what he did do. He lied and said that he was arrested with Nelson Mandela. He lied and said that he was a part of the civil rights marches during the 60s to desegregate movie theaters. Get the F out of here. He plagiarized speeches that forced him to drop out of the 1988 presidential race. RFK's, Robert F. Kennedy, and some guy from Europe, and another person. He like 3 people. He just was stealing speeches, boy. But see, he part of that demographic, that white demographic that's used to stealing and not being held accountable. So he don't realize that it's 2020 and we're in an age where we can find out information. He's still stuck because he's having cognitive decline, and so he's still stuck. He still think he can just lie and can't nobody fact check him. So he just continues to lie. Hey, I was arrested with Nelson Mandela, and I was in the back seat actually when they first shot JFK because I had went down and I literally dropped my cell phone. He talked about dropping his cell phone in 1963. That's how much lying he be doing. Like Biden be lying for real, but we're not gonna focus on Biden today. We're gonna focus on some current stuff. You got I don't know if y'all know about well, I'm sure y'all know because they've been talking about it a lot. But Nathaniel Woods was executed in Alabama yesterday. I want to kind of get into that because I think it's BS, and this is kind of what happens. Honestly, I don't even know why we thought that governor would. You know what bothered me though? I don't know if you guys saw, but about 5 hours before they executed him, Supreme Court gave him a stay. And I'm going to show you the video because his family was so happy. So imagine getting a stay. Oh, he's going to get a chance. And all of a sudden, they snatched it away within 30 minutes. They snatched it. It was probably about an hour and a half that they snatched it away. And they killed him that same night. That gotta be terrible. Like that like your emotions just fluctuating like that. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get into that, though, too. So, if I can find these states. Why can't I just find these states? What y'all doing? I literally just had these states, though, for real. Primaries and days. Let's see. We don't want Super Tuesday. It's crazy. You can't even find Tuesday states. March 10th. Tuesday, March 10th, Democratic primary. 10. I literally just had it. This is crazy. Democratic primary states. Let's give me an example. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, this is the same thing I just did right now. That ain't gonna help nobody. Save, Google, yep, that's what it is. That's what we're not gonna do. I'm just open this up. Okay, so we good. So look, that's what I want to talk about now. We here. We can move forward, y'all. I don't know how this got here. I feel like this was something else. I feel like this. How did this get here? Ugh. I'm gonna show y'all this. This real hard. What's going on, y'all? What's up, girl? How you feeling? Hey, do me a favor. Go on Twitter and or Facebook or YouTube. You go on Twitter or Facebook to my Twitter or my Facebook, and you can see the graphics and everything. So you won't. I just talked to your mama. She told me she got engaged the other day too. I told her congratulations. You ain't even hit me for my birthday, so F you, punk. Anyway, let's get into it. So, y'all, it's only me. Kisses. Let's see funny. Happy birthday, babe. Yeah, I appreciate it. Go on Twitter. Go on my Twitter so you can see the graphics and stuff. Because I'm going to be showing videos. You're going to be able to see it right here. So look, the coronavirus. Let's get into it. Where is it at? We're going to talk about the coronavirus's effects on the election and what it's doing and how people are reacting and responding to it as it related to Super Tuesday and how it's going to relate to this Tuesday coming up in Michigan and the other states. Now that I know them, the other 5 states. So Tuesday you got Mississippi, Michigan, Missouri, Idaho, Washington, and North Dakota. We're focused on Michigan. Michigan holding 125 or 150 delegates. I'm not sure, but I think it's 150 delegates that it's holding, Michigan itself. So that could work out well for some people. So check it out. Now, the coronavirus. So what do we know right now? What we know is that there's been 17 deaths of the coronavirus in the United States, 14 in Washington State, in the state of Washington. Florida just had 2 earlier today, and California had its first today, if I'm not mistaken, according to Johns Hopkins. And I read this off some notes as I was reading that article, but let me find out who Johns Hopkins is when I'm citing his shit. Johns Hopkins. According to Johns Hopkins University. Yep. From the CDC. Okay, so, Vice President Mike Pence announced Friday that there were 20, cruise ship, the Princess cruise ship, they, out of, I think it was like 300 or something people, they only tested 21, they tested 48. And out of the 48, 21 had the coronavirus. And 19 of the 21 were people that worked on the ship. And this was their second tour. So that means there was hella people on the first tour that got off the ship that didn't even get checked, that's walking around right now in America with the virus. This is all Americans. And Donald Trump said he want to keep them on the boat so the numbers won't go up. Donald Trump a cold mug though. Well, so as of now, as of today, we have in America there are 333 cases of the coronavirus. I would say 335 because the 2 new ones in Florida just happened. So let's say 335 cases in 28 states. As of today. And they're saying that this is going to be a rough week. So we know that President Trump already signed the $8.3 billion to add funding because they don't have enough testing. People can't just go in right now because there's no test available. So I'm going to read this article about it. And we're going to see exactly where we are. We're going to see how this, in relation to voting, because I think it had a tremendous impact on Super Tuesday, and I'm sure it's going to have a parallel effect this coming up Tuesday on March 10th. So let's just check this out.
Coronavirus. Moments ago, we learned that 21 people on board the cruise ship sitting off the California coast have tested positive for the coronavirus. We'll have much more on that in a moment. Worldwide, cases of the coronavirus have surpassed 100,000, and a top health official warns we are at the beginning of the storm. In the U.S., more than 270 cases have been confirmed with at least 15 deaths. Moments ago, Vice President Pence said it still may be weeks before testing kits are broadly available. Jamie Yukas starts us off in San Francisco. Jamie, what do we know about those 21 people who tested positive?
Well, here's what we know. 46 people were tested on the cruise ship for the coronavirus. Of those, 21 tests came back positive. The breakdown includes 19 crew members and 2 passengers. And we're just learning now that everyone on board will be tested.
Here I am on the Princess cruise ship.
New tonight, passengers aboard the Grand Princess tell us more people will be tested for coronavirus while they wait off the coast of San Francisco. So far, 21 people on board have tested positive.
I mean, I would like to test everybody and test me to make sure,
Monica Actor is one of some 3,500 passengers and crew on the luxury ship. For the second night at sea, food is being delivered to rooms, and staff has asked passengers not to open their doors.
If you are experiencing any symptoms of respiratory illness such as fever, cough, or shortness of breath, please remain in your stateroom.
This is the same Princess cruise ship that returned with sick passengers last month.
You know what I'm thinking? What about the people? So it takes some days for that stuff to get tested. What about the people as they were waiting to get tested? You know, the people that was handing out food and stuff like that. What about them? The crew, that's 19 of the crew is affected, so they had to get tested. They had to send the testing off and then wait for the results and come back. They found out today. This report, let's see. This report came out, this was updated on the 7th. When was it initially wrote though? So it's updated. Damn, it was just updated today. The 7th just started in New York. Wow. So this article came out today. It was updated. That's crazy that this article came out today. Because you heard her say how many people were dead, like 244. You heard her say it was 244 people that were dead. It's 333 now. 335, but what's the name? This is how fast this shit is going. That's crazy. This article was wrote earlier today, and already we have 333. And that's just in America. Globally, it's like 3,000. Let's get into it. Hold on. What article that I saw earlier that I was reading? Okay. Is this it? Yeah, here it is right here. So look. What's up, Raj? Holla at me. Hey, Raj, check me out on Twitter or Facebook where you can see the graphics and everything, bro. And you'll be able to see you'll be able to see everything I'm talking about. Because right now you just hear me talking and not seeing the graphics. It's gonna seem a little weird. So according to the data compiled by Johns Hopkins, there have been more than 101,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus they call COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus. More than 57,000 people have recovered, and at least 3,400 people have died. So let me say it. More than 57,000 people have recovered from the virus, and 3,400 people have died so far globally. That's you know what globally means. I was about to say that means the whole earth with an F. So yeah, that's what's going on. And I just read to y'all that there's been 17 deaths in the United States, 14 in Washington, 2 in Florida, 1 in California, and I think there was another one in California. I was looking at the news earlier. I may be mistaken, but I think I'm mistaken because this is updated. This was updated just at 12:08 my time, so that was 40 minutes ago. So, yeah, that's what's going on. And look at this. As we look at it as it relates to polling and what's going on in the polls. So voters for the big Super Tuesday states cite coronavirus as a factor. Edison Research, Washington. About 3 out of 4 Democratic primary voters is in 4 big states, California, Texas, Virginia, and North Carolina, said the new coronavirus was a factor in their voting on Tuesday, according to exit poll analyzed by Edison Research. In Texas, the disease was cited as a factor by 78% of voters, and in North Carolina by 76% of the voters, in California by 75, and in Virginia by 73. If people don't think that this is a reason why, I mentioned this like last week, like if something were to happen and Biden start to catch wind, the reason will be, some of it will be coronavirus because people want, when it's a pandemic and they're not used to it, they don't know what they're going to do, and they're thinking about the health of their children, their family, they're going to go with something that they're used to seeing. And like I said earlier, if Trump was just half of the asshole that he is, he would guarantee this would be his 9/11. He would guarantee a new term. He may get a new term, but he would be guaranteed a new term because of this coronavirus. If he was handling this business and doing this job, that would have guaranteed him, because people would be used to him. Because this coronavirus ain't leaving next week. We're about to be dealing with this for the next 9 months to a year. Period. Because they ain't going to even be able to have a vaccine, something even close to a vaccine, for 9 months. This is what they said. So I wonder how much of a factor as it continues and as it grows. That's going to be a big thing, too, as we go into this next Tuesday coming up. For these primaries, the coronavirus is going to be a big factor. It's a big factor in the primaries now. It's going to be a big factor in the election. It's a part of our life now. It's a part of our political discourse. And we're going to either stand or fall with this virus. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I think that this is the perfect time to exploit why universal health care is essential, because you can't just go get testing. Ain't nobody right now. If you try to go get tested, you know how much it's gonna cost. You go to the emergency room, it's gonna be like $500 to get tested just to see if you have it. That's a great arguing point of why we need health care for all, Medicare for all. Period. Look, start interviewing people that's got that virus. Go talk to people. Look at the statistics. How much y'all charging? How many people in this emergency room got it? How much do y'all charge for people for intake, for people to see it, for people then outside of intake to get blood tested and all that stuff? A visit is different from what they need to do to you. So if this is a great time to show why you're the man for the job. And not only that, why you're a leader. Lead. Like, he can actually lead. Bernie Sanders, I'm referring to, can lead in this moment. And getting information why Trump is lying, acting like everything's fine. He can be the counter. No, this is what's going on. This is what we're finding. You can play president right now. He can actually do that. He can play president right now. This is a great opportunity. I didn't even think about that. This is such a great opportunity for him if he sees it. It's a great opportunity for him to play president right now. Go in, get the statistics. Trump is lying everywhere. Everybody knows Trump is lying. He's making a whole lot of people feel insecure. Give them that security as the leader. Show them that you are that. Remember in 2008 when we had the crisis and the housing crisis, and Obama and McCain had to go back to the Senate to see how they were going to deal with it. Guess what? Obama came back with a plan. In their next debate, he laid out a plan, and this is what we do. He seen presidential, and he got elected. That was people point that out to this day when they talk about when it was over for McCain. They pointed to that time right there when the housing crisis happened, and they stopped the campaign. And I remember Obama said, you know what, as a president, because at first he didn't want to stop, like, as a president, he said, we can do that, but we still going to have the debate on the same day. We don't need to reschedule that, because as a president, you're going to have 5 or 6 things you may have to deal with at once, and you're going to need to know how to navigate that. This is what Obama said. And he came out going to that next debate looking like the president, having a 4-point or 5-point strategy that he laid out. And he seemed presidential. Oh man, this is such a great opportunity for Bernie Sanders to show that he's presidential. Dog, get on the ball, bro. Get on the ball. Don't play. Get on the ball. Please stop playing. Please stop playing. Estimated 8,000 deaths in a few months. I think, hey, it could be. Go on Twitter so you can see the graphics, man. Don't stay on here because you won't see nothing. But like I said, since we got some people on here, go ahead. This is the section. It's our section. Ours, yours, and mine. So go ahead and follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Subscribe, like the channel, and hit the notification bell. So man, this is a great opportunity, bro. Take that opportunity, Bernie Sanders. Look presidential right now. This is your time. This is your moment. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. You know what? If I was still, if I had Nina Turner's hookup, Jordan got it. If I had Nina Turner's hookup, I'd hit her up right now. Like, look, this is it right here. Look at Obama. This is it. Start coming out with statistics. This is what's going on in this state. This is what's going on in this state. This is a great opportunity because the coronavirus, people don't know what's going on. Donald Trump is making everyone feel insecure. He's looking unpresidential. He's lying. It's all about him. And like it always is, as you're running for president, people want to know if you're electable. That's been the establishment's argument against you, is that you can't beat Trump. If you do what Obama did when the housing crisis happened and you come in and you look presidential during this coronavirus crisis and you start giving people updates, this is what's going on. That's not only looking presidential. Guess what? You start to build another coalition because now people are coming to you for answers on Twitter, for responses. This is what's going on. This is what the CDC is saying. Dog, you've been in the Senate for years. You got to have connections. Use your friends, use your allies in the Senate to exploit this coronavirus. I mean, I don't know if that's a bad term to use, but that's what you'll be doing. Like, use what you have right now to exploit that. Because you're going to win. I'm telling you, people are nervous. People are scared. And that's a huge reason of why Biden overshadowed and took over. I just got through reading the statistics. 78%, what is it? Let me show y'all so y'all can see. Y'all know I ain't playing. 78% right here. 78%. Let's look at it big. 70. What's this, man? All right. In Texas, the disease was cited as a factor by 78% of voters. In North Carolina, 76% of the voters. In California, 75% of the voters. And in Virginia, 73%. These were 5 of the largest delegate states in Super Tuesday. And this is a huge reason. When people are scared, they want something familiar. They want to feel secure. Oh, I trust him. He's been here before. He'll know how to take care of it. That's a good reason why, in addition to everything that happened in Biden's favor, that's a good reason as well, man. Bernie, this is a great opportunity for you, bro. Hey, take advantage. Take advantage, man. I'm telling you, take advantage. I'm giving you that. I ain't going to even charge you for that one. But look, in addition to that, let's go to our lovely president. I don't know if y'all saw him today, but he is funny. He is funny. So here he goes talking about the coronavirus. I think it's amazing to watch. So let's watch it together.
The consortium to work together to use their capacity, which is really substantial, to bring this test to doctors' offices around our nation. And when they presented it, they felt that either by Monday, they're going to begin to roll out this test now through LabCorp, through Quest. So as the president said, the issue now is whether the clinicians believe that this test is indicated in evaluating the patients that come to see them. It's not going to be about the availability of the test. It's going to be about the clinical judgment of the patient and the doctor or the nurse practitioner to get this test.
Can I clarify about the cruise
And this is,
ship?
by the way, the highest level test.
Yes.
Can I clarify
This is
something
the highest level test anywhere.
about the cruise ship? Has a decision been made?
Hey, what does that even mean? This is the highest level test. This is the highest level test anyway. What does that mean, you idiot?
It's a very good question.
That's a very good question. Hey, everybody on IG, go on Twitter or Facebook. Y'all can see it live with the graphics. That's a very good question. He is funny, y'all.
From my standpoint, I want to rely on people. I have great experts, including our vice president, who's working 24 hours a day on this stuff. They would like to have the people come off. I'd rather have the people stay, but I'd go with them. I told them to make the final decision. I would rather, because I like the numbers being where they are. I don't need to have the numbers double because of one ship.
How selfish is he, Doug? How selfish is he? I'd rather have the people stay on the ship so our statistics won't go up, so we won't be able to tell the truth. I don't want us to have to tell the truth, so I'd rather them... It's like the gift and the curse. One thing I appreciate about Donald Trump is that he's just taking the veil down. This is what we're about. This is what I paid for years. This is what I endorse. I'm doing exactly what they've been doing, but I'm just showing y'all exactly what we do. I'd rather them stay on the ship. They stay on the ship. Statistics stay down. The Wall Street stocks maintain, and we won't be scaring people. I mean, he had the airlines telling him like, watch his rhetoric so he won't scare people from traveling. Like, I'd rather them stay on the plane. Who would even say that? Look, hey, so you got to appreciate the honesty because at least you know where you stand.
It wasn't our fault. And it wasn't the fault of the people on the ship either.
Wait, look,
okay?
He said it wasn't our fault. He's mad.
And they're mostly Americans. So 24 hours a day on this stuff. They would like to have the people come off. I'd rather have the people stay, but I'd go with them. I told them to make the final decision. I would rather, because I like the numbers being where they are. I don't need to have the numbers double because of one ship. That wasn't our fault. And it wasn't the fault of the people on the ship either. Okay?
And you see how he caught himself, right? He know he need those Americans when it comes to July when we start the general. Oh, and it wasn't their fault neither. It wasn't our fault. I didn't tell them motherfuckers to go on a cruise ship.
It wasn't their fault either. and they're mostly Americans, so I can live either way with it. I'd rather have them stay on, personally, but I fully understand if they want to take them off. I gave them the authority to make the decision.
Isn't that putting preference over not having more attractive numbers?
No, I'm saying whatever it is, that takes precedence over the numbers. No, I like the numbers. I would rather have the numbers stay where they are. But if they want to take them off, they'll take them off. But if that happens, all of a sudden your 240 is obviously going to be a much higher number, and probably the 11 will be a higher number too.
There must be some risk in leaving them on the show, right?
There's probably risk to both. Probably risk to both. You know.
Is there going to be a way for us to advance our testing the way that South Korea has? They have the drive-through testing now.
We're working very closely with South Korea.
10,000 people a day. Are we going to be
Well,
able to
we're
have
working
that kind of
closely with
capacity?
South Korea. They're also in a much different position. They have a lot of people that are infected. We don't. They're in a much different position. But we are working very closely with South Korea.
Go to my Twitter. You can see the graphics and everything.
As you know, we're allies.
Check me out.
Even though
on Facebook.
They've made much better trade deals in the past than we did. We're allies with South Korea. You have heard that, right? And we're working very closely with South Korea.
Yeah,
And a lot of the testing is very similar testing, but they're in a much different position than they have thousands of people, and they're at a, they've got some difficulty right now. But we're working very closely. In fact, they're calling us, asking us and these people for advice.
And please correct me, doctors, if I'm wrong. If I understand correctly, South Korea is using a technology different than what we use in the United States in our public health labs, but that we do use in our commercial labs, the LabCorp, the Quest.
There you go.
I mean, they're moving now to that rapid throughput
And don't forget,
platform.
these are the people. Like as an example, HIV. I talk about it in speeches and other things. HIV free, or essentially free, within 9 years now. It's a 10-year process. These are the people that came up with the answers to this stuff that 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you would have said it's impossible. What they've done is incredible, and to others also. If you look at what they've done with HIV, it's incredible. Other countries are all calling the same people that you're dealing with. And honestly, what you should be doing is giving them a lot of
Go on Twitter and
credit,
check me out,
because
man.
This was a very condensed period of time. Even the vaccine, they're going to have tests done in 90 days that other people wouldn't have.
What's happening? Can't nobody see you. I'm live right now on I'm doing the news, man. What's up, Louise? What's up, Pimpin'? How y'all doing? Y'all doing good? Well, did y'all move in together or what? I've been seeing videos of y'all. That ain't the vision. Hey, look. Hey, go on to my Twitter because I gotta continue this live. Go on Twitter, y'all can see the graphics and everything. I love both of y'all. Miss you. I'll holler in a minute.
That 2 years ago, you were taking 2 years to do. And they're making great progress. It takes a period of time, but they're making great progress. Other countries are dealing with the same people you're talking to now, and others in this government universe. They're incredible people. And honestly, you should be giving them tremendous credit. They have done a tremendous job. When you mention South Korea, they're dealing with us all the time. When you mention Italy, they're dealing with us all the time. We're working together with China. We're working together with everybody. But these are great people. These are incredible people. And you shouldn't be knocking them. You should be praising them. They have done an incredible job already.
As Michael said, you could not anticipate this kind of thing happening. Do you think that having the Office of Pandemic Preparation in the White House, that White House staff is engaged?
I just think this is something, Peter, that you can never really think is going to happen. I've heard all about this could be a big deal from before it happened. Something like this could happen. I think we're doing a really good job in this country at keeping it down. We've really been very vigilant, and we've done a tremendous job at keeping it down. But who would have thought, look, how long ago is it? 6, 7, 8 weeks ago? Who would have thought we'd even be having this subject? We were going to hit 30,000.
Everybody except your dumb ass. Everybody except you. Everybody been telling you that this is about to be a pandemic and we need to start testing people now. Everybody but you. Period.
Clockwork, right? It was all going, it was right up, and then all of a sudden this came out. All I say is be calm. We have the greatest people in the world. Everyone's relying on us. The world is relying on us. They've done an incredible job in a very condensed period of time. The thing is, you never really know when something like this is going to strike and what it's going to be. this is different than something else. This is a very different thing than something else. So I think that.
Hold on. Hey, wait. What does that mean? This is very different than something else. Is it really? Is it really different than something? You don't say. That's funny. I can be president, y'all, on everything. On everything, I can be president right now.
Done a great job. And you know what? If I didn't think they did I tell you?
Would there be a value in having an office in the White House that's comparing?
Well, I just don't think that somebody is going to, without seeing something, like we saw something happening in China. As soon as they saw that happening, they essentially, not from the White House. I mean, you know, we don't need a lab in the White House, but they saw something happening. I found it very interesting. They spotted something going on in China. When you see these labs that I just saw, I would love to have them see if it's possible. But they spotted something going on in China. They started working on it immediately, just in case it should come here. And also to help China. I mean, if we could find something that's beneficial, we want to give it to China like they're going to want to give it to us. China is working very closely with us. South Korea, Italy, all of them. They're working very closely. But we're doing, you know, again, 240 and 11. That's where we are right now.
Mr. President, on the numbers, where are we now with the forecast? What sort of numbers?
We don't have a forecast because we don't know. We don't know how many people are, you know, have this, aren't going to see a doctor, aren't going to see a hospital. And the higher that number is, the better the number is from the standpoint of death, the death count. They get better without seeing doctors, without seeing hospitals. So nobody's marking it down. And I think the number is very high. I think that number is much higher, but it never gets reported because they're not going to hospitals or doctors. The ones that get reported are people that are really sick enough to go to a hospital or to a doctor. So it makes the numbers look worse.
How can hospitals prepare for that?
Well, we're prepared for anything. We're prepared. We are really very highly prepared for anything. And in a short period of time, I mean, what they've done is very incredible. And I've seen what they've done back there. It's really incredible.
And just from a health perspective.
And by the way, NIH, what they've done, I spent time over there. And I like this stuff. You know, my uncle is a great person. He was at MIT. He taught at MIT for, I think, like a record number of years. He was a great super genius.
Look at the CDC director in the back. He looking like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Dr. John.
Hey, look at him. This is the governor of Atlanta. That's the one that was the Secretary of State and cheated and won against the black lady. But he looking like, what?
I like this stuff. I really get it. People are surprised that I understand it. Every one of these doctors said, how do you know so much about this? Maybe I have a natural ability. Maybe I should have done that instead of running for president. But you know what? What they've done is very incredible. I understand that whole world. I love that world. I really do. I love that world. And they should be given tremendous credit. And the whole world is relying on us. You know, you hear about, like you're saying about South Korea. South Korea is very much reliant on the information we're giving them. And they're reliant on the vaccines that we will come up with. Very soon we're going to come up. Now, it takes a period of time to get them tested and then put into the market. It has to be very safe. You can't give a vaccine that's going to be unsafe. It would be a disaster. So that's where we are. And I think these people deserve, all of them, scientists, doctors, I think they deserve tremendous credit. I really do.
The Vice President. Interesting. That's enough. I just thought that was funny. That was funny. His uncle went to MIT. My uncle, people, and hey, you know what's funny is like how it always pivots back to him. Look. Like, what happened? What you blocking, bro? People who I know, come on, man. Come on. That's funny. Everybody in the back like just, oh, Jesus Christ. And then you got whoever the guy is on his right is just, I don't know, maybe, obviously he wanted to be in the office. If you watch the entire interview, he's condoning everything this guy's lying about. And it's crazy. But he should be a comedian. In addition to working in CDC, he should also be a comedian because he is funny. If there's one thing you can't say about Trump Trump is funny. He's a comedian, my God. All right, man. What else we gonna talk about? So something a little less funny is Nathaniel Woods. I don't know if you guys know, Nathaniel Woods was just executed last night. He, let me see. Nathaniel Woods was a resident of Alabama. He was accused of killing 3 police officers, which they found that he did not pull the trigger at all. He ran away from the scene. Even the guy who actually killed the police officers said on record that it wasn't him that did it, and but they still killed him. So, an Alabama man convicted of fatally shooting 3 police officers in 2004 was executed on Tuesday night, despite last minute legal drama and pleas for clemency from family members, high-profile activists. I think Kim Kardashian. I know I saw Tip. Who else? Sean King. A couple people started talking about it. Kind of that day, yesterday and like the day before, you start seeing it in the news more. People were trying to get him, not get him clemency, but get him a stay where they can like look at it. And I'm gonna show y'all a video that's kind of heartbreaking too, because it's almost like playing with this family's emotions after I read this. But so despite last minute legal drama and pleas for clemency from family members, high-profile activists, and even the victim's sister, who all say he shouldn't be put to death since he did not pull the trigger. Nathan Woods, 42 years old, was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death in 2005 for the June 17, 2004 killing of 3 Birmingham police officers. Authorities said Woods and his roommate, Kerry Spencer, were dealing crack cocaine from their home when the 3 officers, Carlos Owen, Harley Chisholm, and Charles Bennett, were killed while trying to serve an arrest warrant. Although Spencer admitted he was the actual gunman, who shot the officer several times, prosecutors argued during the 2005 trial that Woods was also responsible for their deaths because he conspired to, see, this is the thing, conspiracy. He conspired. That's such a loosely general term that a lot of people are doing time in jail for. They used to have a conspiracy theory that I think they took out in California for drug offenses. Like, if someone get caught for selling drugs and then you say, oh, well, I got the drugs from so-and-so, without any evidence, they can arrest him and charge him and convict him. Because off your word alone, period. It's called the conspiracy clause in California. He's 100% innocent. Pamela Woods, his sister, said outside the doors of Alabama State Capitol Wednesday evening in a last-minute plea for a reprieve. Let him go or give us time to have the courts review his case. So, it came despite a late twist on Thursday when the Supreme Court entered a temporary stay. See, they entered that stay. I'm going to show y'all this video because it's heartbreaking, especially knowing that they then killed him hours later. So yesterday, he got a temporary stay, and it was breaking news. It was on CNN and everything. So it came in a late twist on Thursday when the Supreme Court entered a temporary stay just before the execution was set to begin at 6 p.m. Central Time. A move fairly common in capital punishment cases, while the justice reviewed the last-minute request for clemency by Wood's legal team. Now look at this. This is another reason why it's important that we vote, because it's not just the presidency. Like those Supreme Court justices, I guarantee if we had a majority in there, that maybe he would be alive today. But that's a lifetime. When they're appointed for life until they retire themselves. That's why they're trying to keep RBG in office until hopefully we have a Democrat. Hopefully we have Bernie Sanders in office, because that's all we want in office. If not, shit, we're going to have a conservative Supreme Court. And they're going to revoke Roe versus Wade. You see it happening right now. Like they're laying down the blueprint right now. This is not a joke. And this is why we got to stay active. You can't be coming into the game after the primaries during the general. Now we got to pick between the lesser of two evils when we can be in. And people talk about like having a diverse stage. We had the most diverse candidates at the beginning of this presidency, and all of them had to drop out because they didn't have support. And I didn't like none of their policies, but still, if enough people were paying attention, they probably would have had enough support to make it through, at least to the vote. Well, at least to South Carolina. Think about if we had more black people when South Carolina came up, maybe we could have saw something different. I mean, I don't like anything about Cory Booker or Kamala Harris at all. But still, having them in a race that a lot of people can have an argument for it. I think we got to start paying more attention, like not just for the general, but out the gate, because this should matter. This especially should matter, because if it's, what is it, 9? If it's 6-3, what are we going to do? In the Supreme Court? That's going to be all bad. So let me give you some background of Nathaniel Woods, so you can, or the case, so you can kind of get an understanding of what's been going on up until this point.
It's a fact no one disputes. Alabama is about to execute 44-year-old Nathaniel Woods for the murders of 3 police officers he did not kill. June 17, 2004. 3 Birmingham police officers are gunned down attempting to serve a misdemeanor warrant on Woods at a home in the city's west side. Woods had surrendered to police when another man in the house, Kerry Spencer, opened fire with an assault rifle, killing officers Charles Bennett, Carlos Owen, and Harley Chisholm.
Never in my life have I ever imagined going to 3 funerals in 2 days and feeling the pain and hurt that we've all experienced.
The shocking murders left a city grieving. Spencer confessed to the shootings and said soon after his arrest that he had acted alone. He was convicted of the murders and sits on Alabama's death row. But for prosecutors, one conviction wasn't enough. They charged Woods with 3 counts of capital murder, accusing him of conspiring or being complicit in the killing of the officers.
In order for a person to be convicted on complicity, they have to be involved in a plan or a scheme to kill.
Prosecutors alleged a calculating Woods intentionally lured the officers into the home where Spencer was waiting.
Absolutely not. He was terrified when they came into the house.
Woods was found guilty, and even though he hadn't fired a single shot, he was sentenced to death.
He thought it was the craziest thing in the world. He was like, how? Because, he didn't do anything wrong.
How much do you think race played a role in this case?
I think it did play a role. I think that if you look at the victims, it's 3 white officers. And if you look...
It played a huge role. I hate that she was even hesitant to say it. I think it played a role. It played an absolute role. You know our justice system. Stop playing games.
The people who are sitting on death row, it's 2 black men.
Woods' current defense team says his conviction was just one of many legal wrongs, including years of bungled appeals by other attorneys. Now down to his final hours, Woods' family believes their only hope is for the public to convince Alabama's governor that killing a man who killed no one is wrong.
I love my brother. People need to know about this.
We wanted to know what the families of the murdered police officers thought of Woods. We reached 2 of them who said they either couldn't or wouldn't talk to us. But in a local radio interview last year, the granddaughter of Officer Carlos Owen reflected on his loss and the hole it's left in all their lives.
I remember how special he used to make each of his grandkids feel. That was something that he was so good at, making others feel loved and special.
What would you say to the families of the officers who died?
We are deeply, deeply sorry for what happened that day. But the murderer of their family members is sitting on death row. He has confessed. He is being punished. They don't need an innocent man's blood as well.
Martin, you actually spoke with Kerry Spencer tonight. What's he saying?
He was calling from death row, the same death row, of course, on which...
So Kerry Spencer is the guy that admitted to the murders. He's the one that said, I did it. And this is what they're going to talk to him right now, too.
Nathaniel Woods is spending his last few hours. You know, it's hard to imagine the man who has confessed to killing 3 police officers would have a guilty conscience, but it appears he does. But in this case, it's guilt over what he believes is wrong, that Nathaniel Woods in no way had anything to do with the deaths of those officers. Here's some of our conversation. You are saying that you are totally responsible for the murders of those police officers.
Yes, I am. I'm the only one that shot anybody that day.
And Nathaniel Woods is completely innocent, you say?
Absolutely. He didn't know I was going to shoot anybody. I mean, I put this on my life, on my children's life. I mean, like, I swear to God, I didn't know I was going to do this. So how would Nate know? I mean, this was some spur of the moment decision. You know, we had no time to think about what the was going to happen that day.
This was not a plan. You didn't conspire together.
No, man.
Do you want to speak in Chinese, nigga? What you mean? He just told you 5 times. You act like one man can't do it. All of a sudden, he telling you he did it. What else you want? This be bothering me.
Something they put out there. You see, it was no warrant or nothing. They just made up a story for a jury to believe to convict both of us.
And again, that's Kerry Spencer saying that Woods is totally innocent, that this was a spur of the moment, and that Spencer takes full responsibility for what happened. Alabama, he says, is executing the wrong person.
Wow. And there's nothing anyone can do, Martin? Nothing. Don Lemon, don't act like you care about black people. Period. You don't care.
The governor could intervene. That's what everyone is hoping for. There could be some sort of stay. There could even be just a temporary stay to allow a more formal investigation and look at this point. There are a number of other court actions, but right now all eyes are focused on the governor here in Montgomery.
Wow. And why would they think this governor would allow him to stay? We're going to get into this governor in a minute, but let me show you what happened, and I can just imagine how they felt in this moment, and then what happened, obviously, later.
Who was the killer?
This is the family of Nathaniel Woods.
Who was the killer? He's admitted it so many times, so why can't Nathaniel Woods get a break, finally? You know, we're begging, we're pleading for the governor to make the most
There's breaking news
rational.
Right now. I'm sorry. There's breaking news that the Supreme Court grants a temporary stay in that Your dad, there's a temporary stay.
Wow. She was talking, I wanted to say it right then.
Wow.
Listen,
listen.
I want to, we are, this is a moment. This is a moment in the city of Birmingham.
Wow.
They actually heard the plea of an African American who was unjustly.
We need them. They need their dad, period.
And we got to make sure we get this moment.
How they're feeling?
They want to hear from you all on how you all
I'm feeling.
This is messed
I'm
up.
shaking. I'm so excited. I don't know what to do, you know. I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. You know, we got a whole nother generation at this moment. They get to know their granddaddy. He get to really, you know, feel them, touch them. It's just, it feels so good. You know, today I came here to plead, get on my knees, and you know, for the people just to come together and get an understanding and realize what's right is right. it's coming to the light, and that's done and said. You know, it's coming to the light. It's coming to the light.
We hear from.
Wow. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that heartbreak. That bothers the mess out of me. This happened about 3 hours prior to them deciding to go ahead and kill him. Imagine the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster that his family just went through right now. I can only imagine, like, having this sense of relief. Yes, oh, thank you, God. Y'all listen, y'all heard, please, because I know that based on this evidence and what we have, that he didn't do it. He did not do it. And 3 hours later, they kill him. I don't know how to deal with that. That type of heartbreak, man, that type of emotion, that will drive me crazy, bro. That they just put them through that. It probably would have been, I mean, I guess if you thinking about feelings, like it was good for them to feel that in that moment, like that feeling, but for nothing. It's all for nothing. Putting them through that. They couldn't even wait a day. They didn't even wait a day. How can you look at new evidence? Because evidence is packs of things. New evidence and all of a sudden judge within 3 hours, not sit on it, not look at it, not contemplate it, not measure it up against other stuff. Because you can't just get a Supreme Court to relook at something. I mean, no, that's not true. Normally in capital murder, they will do that. They don't. They do stays when they come with new stuff, but I don't know. I've never seen anything like this, and I just think it's messed up. I think it's messed up. And they talking about the governor. They waiting on the governor. Let me let you know who this governor is from Alabama that they were depending on. This governor. Kay Ivey. Kay Ivey. Who is she? Let's find out who is she, because she has an interesting to say the least history. This is the governor of Alabama, Governor Kay Ivey. And why I say her past, her history is interesting. We're going to get into it a little bit so you guys can see why I think her past is this interesting. So, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey apologizes for wearing blackface during college skit. Alabama Republican Governor Kay Ivey has apologized for wearing blackface during a skit at Auburn University more than 50 years ago. Ivey said Thursday she still doesn't recall the incident. That's funny to me how people never recall it when they get caught doing some bullshit. I don't know if you see this first image. It says the Jungle Party. Look at the bottom. They call that the Jungle Party. All of them in blackface. It was the Jungle Party. So she doesn't recall the incident, but after a recording surfaced, her discussing the sketch with her then fiance and later first husband, Ben LaVia, Ivy admitted it must be true. It must be true. What? Let's see. Do they have that recording here? Let's see if they got that recording here. Because if they got that recording, this is great. Let's see the recording. This is the article from NPR. Her wearing blackface. Let's see what this is.
As I look at my fiance across the room, I can see her that night. She had on a pair of blue coveralls, and she had put some black paint all over her face, and she was, we were acting out this skit called Cigar Butts. I could not go into a lengthy explanation, but to say the least, I think that this skit, it did not require a lot of talent. as far as as far as verbal talent, but it did require a lot of physical acting and such as crawling around on the floor looking for cigar butts and things like this, which certainly got a big reaction out of the audience.
Would you like to defend yourself from this low position that he's placed you in now?
Well, that was just my role for the evening. I'll tell you another funny thing that happened. It was about the end of the show, and the judges had retired, and Tom Malloy, who was directing it, told us, all right, we've got about 5 minutes. He said, just go tell about 3 jokes, and the judges will be ready, and that'll be fine. So Ben had 2, and I had 2. So we went out there and began to tell our jokes. Well, Ben told his, and Kate, won't you tell yours? I couldn't think of my joke. I knew both of them, but I could not think of them, and I panicked. I said, that's all right, you go ahead and tell yours. So he did. And then all this time I was back there scratching my head, and to save my life, I never did remember that joke. So he had to wind up singing a song that I had learned at camp, and then I forgot the punchline on the song.
This brings back something else that I thought was quite funny that night. Kay went out with me one time. We were just going to do just a short intermission skit, and whenever we came back behind the stage, she says, I saw Dean Foy out in the audience. I says, good. I says, I'll tell a joke on him. So I went back out there at the next intermission and just told this elaborate joke on Dean Foy. I just went into a lengthy explanation of it. And lo and behold, I came to find out the next day that he wasn't even there.
Who else was it out there that might
I have
been
no
there?
idea, but Dean Foy's got a double.
He's the object of quite a few jokes around here, isn't he?
I think from time to time, just by virtue of his position, that he catches the brunt of a lot of jokes.
We've been talking with Kay Ivey and Ben LaRavia.
So, yeah. They cigarette butts. Yeah, that looks like cigarette butts. This is all cigarette butts. Cigarette butt jokes. They look like they were playing cigarette butts. This is her. These are images of her in blackface. This is the lady that they figured would give this innocent man, clemency. Crawling on the ground. The jungle, they call it the jungle party. You look at black people as animals and you're going to give them clemency? Nah, that's not who she is. That's not who she is at all. And for some reason, we always like to think the best of our fellow racists. You gotta allow racists to be racist and call them for what it is and call it for what it is and move on, because you'll be wasting your time otherwise. Nathan's dead. Nathan passed away. They killed Nathan last night, Nathaniel. R.I.P., bro. You're one of thousands, probably, that's been executed. Whether it was through the law or through Jim Crow laws or any other laws that allowed this country to lynch black men throughout the years. So, yep. That's where we're standing. That's where we're standing today. And I don't know much to say about that. Shit like this pisses me off all the time. It bothers the mess out of me. And I hate it. Now, Mick Mulvaney. Just in case, y'all know Trump. Y'all know how he likes to put people on Front Street. He ain't gonna just let you leave. He ain't gonna just X you out of something. When he X you out, he gonna make it a grandstand. He need everybody to know that he kicked your ass out. So if y'all don't know who Mick Mulvaney is, I don't know if this looks familiar. If you pay attention to the news, this may look familiar, but if not, there's a recent video as we were in the midst of the impeachment series brought to you by the Do Nothing Democrats. Hey, by the way, go ahead and like this page, follow us, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. We're trying to grow. We're trying to grow the page up, so do that. I keep doing that, so y'all need to see that. So y'all can follow us. Do all that on social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, IG. But Mick Mulvaney, I'm sorry. Let's see who, if I can give you an idea of Mick. But before we get into that, let me find this article so I can read a little bit about why we're talking about him today. Must be something about him. Why are we wasting our time with the chief of staff? Why does it matter? Why does he matter today? Why are you talking about him? Let's see. Mick Mulvaney out. Mark Meadows in as White House chief of staff. Mark Meadows. If y'all don't remember Mark Meadows, oh my God, I should have. Hold on, let me. I'm gonna find that video with Mark Meadows. Birther. Let's see. Let's see. I think it gotta be here if they're showing it. So Mark Meadows is now the chief of staff. Now this guy has been campaigning from the Senate, from the House. Here you go. Yeah, this guy's been campaigning. He was wondering why is he on Trump so hard? Oh, he's been campaigning for a position in the White House. That's why. Now we got it. That's why he's been doing all this buh and all this extra and this grandstanding. And I'm gonna show you a little bit of it. Let me read this. Let me get to this article right quick though. For the fourth time in 3 years, President Trump has a new chief of staff. With his administration grappling with the response to the coronavirus, and just months ahead of the next election, Trump tweeted on Friday, that was tonight, that congressional ally Mark Meadows will be his new top aide to the White House. Meadows replaces Mick Mulvaney, who, like him, was once part of the White House Freedom Caucus, of the House Freedom Caucus. House Freedom Caucus was those Tea Partiers. Meadows has come to be one of Trump's closest allies in Capitol Hill, speaking with him regularly and helping the president keep Republicans in line. He was a staunch defender during Trump's impeachment trial. Trump tweet. I am pleased to announce, this is what he tweeted 3 hours ago. I am pleased to announce Congressman Mark Meadows will become the House Chief of Staff. I have long known and worked with Mark, and the relationship is a very good one. I want to thank Acting Chief Mike Mulvaney for having served with the administration so well. He will become the United States Special Envoy to North Ireland. Thank you. So, who is Mick Mulvaney? Let's get into this video, and you get an idea who he is. I mean, if you followed the impeachment and the Ukraine conundrum.
Mentioned to me in the past that the corruption related to the DNC server. Absolutely. No question about that. But that's it, and that's why we held up the money. Now, there was a report.
So the demand for an investigation into the Democrats was part of the reason that he ordered to withhold funding to Ukraine.
The look back to what happened in 2016 certainly was part of the thing that he was worried about in corruption with that nation. And that is absolutely appropriate.
Withholding the funding.
Yeah.
To be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server happen as well.
We do that all the time with foreign policy. What did McKinney say yesterday? Well, McKinney said yesterday that he was really upset with the political influence in foreign policy. That was one of the reasons he was so upset about this. And I have news for everybody. Get over it.
Get over it.
There's going to be political influence in foreign policy. I'm talking to Mr. Carl. That is going to happen. Elections have consequences, and foreign policy is going to change from the Obama administration to the Trump administration. So you're
Now, this is something that Donald Trump was pissed about and have not gotten over. He hated the fact that he said it was a quid pro quo. You heard him say, yes, there will be political influence. This is what we did. We held it to get information.
saying that the President of the United States, the chief law enforcement person, cannot ask somebody to cooperate with an ongoing public investigation into wrongdoing? That's just bizarre to me that you would think that you can't do that. The money held up had absolutely nothing to do with Biden. There's no question, and that was the point I made to you.
And you're drawing a distinction. You're saying
Yeah.
that it would
There
be
were
wrong
three
to hold
factors.
up money
Again,
for the
I was involved with the process by which the money was held up temporarily. Okay, 3 issues for that: the corruption in the country, whether or not other countries were participating in the support of the Ukraine, and whether or not they were cooperating in an ongoing investigation with our Department of Justice. That's completely legitimate.
Did the president direct you or anyone else to work with Rudy Giuliani on Ukraine?
When was it? There was the May meeting, and I think this has been widely reported. In fact, I think Sondland mentioned it in his testimony, and I'm pretty sure that Rick Perry mentioned it in his interview yesterday with the Wall Street Journal.
So that's Mick Mulvaney, the then acting chief of staff, and this is Donald Trump was pissed about this. He didn't like the fact that Mick did this, because remember, Trump was saying there was no quid pro quo. This is chief of staff saying, yes, we held up money. That's exactly what we did. And now who's in office? Who is in office but the one, the only, Mark Meadows. And who is Mark Meadows? You guys probably know Mark Meadows as his recent feature in the House of Representatives as they started to question Trump's lawyer. I forgot it. What was his lawyer's name? The lawyer that went to jail that started telling on him. I got to get his name. Shoot. So y'all can know. I don't know why I didn't get his name. I forgot his name. Let's see. Michael Cohen. Well, Michael Cohen was being questioned, and Michael Cohen was talking about how racist Trump is. And the Congresswoman was speaking on how racist Trump is, Rashida Tlaib, which I low-key got a crush on. So if somebody see her, tell her I said what's happening. And once you see this video, you'll know exactly who Meadow is. Let's see, are we here? Make sure I'm on the right thing. Let's go back. Bam. There we go.
Mr. Cohen, do you know Lynn Patton? I'm right here.
Oh, yes, sir.
Do you know Lynn Patton?
Yes, I do.
I asked Lynn to come today in her personal capacity to actually shed some light. How long have you known Ms. Patton?
I'm responsible for Lynn Patton joining the Trump Organization and the job that she currently holds.
Well, I'm glad you acknowledged that, because you made some very demeaning comments about the president that Ms. Patton doesn't agree with. In fact, it has to do with your claim of racism. She says that as a daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, that there is no way that she would work for an individual who was racist. How do you reconcile the two of those, Mr.
As neither should I, as the son of a Holocaust survivor.
But, Mr. Cohen, I guess what I'm saying is I've
So if
talked.
y'all don't get it, this guy is using a black woman as a puppet, as a tool to show that Trump isn't racist. He's grabbing and having her stand next to him. Y'all remember Django? Damn, I should have got that picture.
To the president over 300 times. I've not heard one time a racist comment out of his mouth in private. So how do you reconcile it? Do you have proof of those conversations?
I would ask you to
Do you have tape recordings of those conversations?
No, sir.
Well, you've taped everybody else. Why wouldn't you have a tape?
That's also not true, sir. That's not true.
You haven't taped anybody?
I have taped individuals.
How many times have you taped individuals?
Maybe 100 times over 10 years.
Is that a low estimate? Because I've heard it's over 200 times.
No, I don't think. I think it's approximately about 100 from what I recall. But I would ask
So
you,
why
if
would
you ask me a question, sir.
Do you have
so
proof? Do you have proof? Yes or no?
I do.
Oh, where's the proof?
Ask Ms. Patton how many people who are black are executives at the Trump Organization, and the answer is zero.
Mr. Cohen, we can go through this.
What?
I would
You
ask unanimous consent that her entire statement be put in the record.
Without objection.
All right, let me go on.
So now, Mark Meadows used a black woman as a tool. As you see, she's standing right there. She's standing right in front of him. Hey, little coon. Stand right here and let me use you.
Doesn't agree with. In fact, it has to do with your claim of racism. She says that as a daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, that there is no way that she would work for an individual who was racist.
There is a way. You're doing it. She's doing it. That's the way. She's living in it. And so this is Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib checking it.
Just to make a note, Mr. Chairman, just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they aren't racist. And it is insensitive that someone even say the fact that someone would actually use a prop, a black woman, in this chamber, in this committee, is alone racist in itself.
Talk that shit.
Donald Trump is setting a
Mr.
precedent.
Chairman, I ask that her words
Donald
be
Trump
taken
is setting
down.
a precedent. I reclaim my time.
Mr.
Donald
Chairman,
Trump is setting a precedent.
Mr.
That
Chairman.
the highest office can be attained
Mr. Chairman, the rules are clear.
activity, cover up and hold on to business assets to break campaign finance laws and constitutional clauses. What we have here, Mr. Chairman, is criminal conduct and the pursuit of the highest public office by Mr. Cohen and Individual 1. I hope that the gravity of this situation hits everyone in this body and in Congress and across this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield the rest of my time.
Mr. Chairman, I ask that her words, when she's referring to an individual member of this body, be taken down and stricken from the record. I'm sure she didn't intend to do this, but if anyone knows my record as it relates, it should be you, Mr. Chairman.
As anyone knows his record.
Chairman, I would like to.
Hold on.
I want the words read back.
No.
We want to know exactly what she
Excuse
said
me.
about a colleague.
Excuse me. Would you like
You're
to
racist. That's what she
rephrase
said.
that statement, Ms. Tlaib?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can actually read it from here. Just to make a note, Mr. Chairman, that just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they are racist. And it is insensitive that someone would even say racist, say it is racist in itself, and to use a black woman as a prop to prove it otherwise. And I can submit this for the record. If a colleague is thinking that that's what I'm saying, I'm just saying that's what I believe to have
That's a
happened.
racist
And if,
act.
as a person of color in this committee, that's how I felt at that moment, and I wanted to express that. But I am not calling the gentleman, Mr. Meadows, a racist for doing so. I'm saying that in itself, it is a racist act.
Well, I hope not,
You are
Mr.
racist.
Chairman, because I need to be clear on this particular. Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Meadows, wait a minute.
I've defended you
Mr. Meadows,
with false accusations.
Mr. Meadows, I'm the chair.
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you. I will clear this up. Now, Ms. Talib, is it? I want to make sure I understand. You were not intending to call Mr. Meadows a racist. Is that right?
No, Mr. Chairman, I do
should've put her
not
10 feet on the ground.
call Mr.
Yes,
Meadows
it
a
looked
racist.
racist.
I am trying,
Wait a minute, hold
as a
on.
person of color, Mr. Chairman, just to express
call a dog
myself
a dog.
and how I felt at that moment. And so, just for the record, that's what was my intention.
All right. All right. Mr. Meadows. Mr. Meadows.
Mr. Chairman, there's nothing more personal to me than my relationship. My nieces and nephews are people of color.
And you hate them little niggas too.
Not many people know that. You know that, Mr. Chairman. And to indicate that I asked someone who is a personal friend of the Trump family, who has worked for him, who knows this particular individual, that she's coming in to be a prop, it's racist to suggest that I asked her to come in here for that reason.
White people are something else. It's
Mr. President, the president's own person. She's a family member. She loves this family. She came in because she felt like the President of the United States was getting falsely accused. And Mr. Chairman, you and I have a personal relationship that's not based on color. And to even go down this direction is wrong, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, NBC News
All right.
viewers, thanks
All
for
right.
checking out.
It's wrong to go down that because he's not racist. Why would you even assume that I'm racist? I don't know.
2012 is the time that we're going to send Mr. Obama home to Kenya or wherever it is. We're going to do it.
What'd you say?
2012 is the time that we're going to send Mr. Obama home to Kenya or wherever it is. We're going to.
What'd you say?
2012 is the time that we're going to send Mr. Obama home to Kenya or wherever it is. We're going to do it.
If you're sent to Congress, will you pursue some kind of investigation to find out whether or not this guy is really a citizen and entitled to those authorities?
Yes. I see it as if we do our job from a grassroots standpoint, we won't have to worry about it. You know what? We'll send him back home to Kenya or wherever it is. We'll send him back home. Obama has gotten arrogant. He's using the pen to create and legislate from the executive branch, and we need to say enough and enough. And 2012 is when we're going to send him back home, wherever that may be. And
Amen.
As we look at
Amen. Obviously, bringing it back is probably a poor choice of words on my part more than anything else. I believe he's an American citizen. Interesting. Is that what you believe?
you made some very demeaning comments about the president that Ms. Patton doesn't agree with. In fact, it has to do with your claim of racism. She says that as a daughter of a...
So we just saw this. So this is our new chief of staff, y'all. This is our new chief of staff. Look at him. Don't he look good? Huh? Just because I have a woman as a prop and Obama need to go back to Kenya don't mean I'm racist, nigger. What you mean? What you mean, black boy? You think I'm racist, black boy? No, Negro. Isn't that amazing? That is funny. You know what's funny is, obviously, this came out after that exchange between him and Rashida Tlaib. Oh, I wish she would have known that. Oh, I wish she had that on her tongue to confront him right then, because I didn't know it. It came out like maybe hours after that exchange happened. Then, they dig and find stuff real quick, and they found that. And I was like, oh, if it was on the tip of her tongue to give it to him, but she didn't have it. But it's all good. Yeah. So this is America. Now, let's get into some primaries, some 2020 voting, some what y'all gonna get out and do. Michigan, I'll be there tomorrow. Y'all better show up. Y'all better show up for Bernie. Look at Nina Turner. I want y'all to see this clip last night of Nina Turner and Hillary Rosen, which is a CNN commentator. Nina Turner is Bernie Sanders' surrogate, and she's part of his campaign. Go at it on Cuomo last night, and let's see. I actually saw a clip of it earlier. I didn't see it last night because I was up. Something wrong with my cat. It was, I don't know. I think he's sick. He had me nervous, so I was like with him. I'm in love with this cat now. So, I wasn't really watching the news, but this is what happened. So let's watch it together and we can talk about it. Because Twitter was blowing up yesterday and today on this issue. They was going in on Hillary Rosen. So let's see. Let's see what the hell.
Nina Turner, obviously of the Bernie Sanders campaign. Welcome. Good to see you. Hillary Rosen, CNN contributor. Good to have you as well. I am assuming that you are taking the Biden side of the debate because...
I am. I'm endorsing Joe Biden today. It's new for me. I've been neutral in this.
Who are you? Who cares? You ain't been neutral. I watch you. Who are you? We don't give a hell that you are endorsing Joe Biden. You was always going to endorse Joe Biden. Who are you anyway? You don't have no influence.
Primary, but I've been holding out hope for a woman president since 2008. That's not happening.
Oh yeah, she's the type that want to vote for a woman just because she's a woman instead of looking at policy. Okay. When it comes to identity politics, black people have to deal with their blackness every day. We're judged. We have to operate in our blackness. We can't, because of how racist this country is, our identity dictates everything, every experience that we have for the most part in this country. So, Trump weaponizes ugliest prejudices for advantage. I don't know what that is. I need to check that out. But so identity politics, in a sense, means something for us. That's how we identify. That's how we are identified. That's why we're ID'd by the police. That's how we're judged by the police. That's how we're judged when we go looking for jobs. That's how we're judged when we're just walking down the street and someone locks their door because they see us coming. Our identity dictates and colors our experience in this country. So in that regard, identity politics, you have to stand for something when it comes to black people because our identity has dictated the majority of our experience in this country. But when it comes to identity politics as it relates to elections, as it relates to voting to someone because they're black or because they're a woman or whatever. If your politics ain't right, I ain't voting for you, period. I'm done. We done with that. We ain't doing that, period. You know what I'm saying? Period. Just because we want to make history, just because you're a woman, nah. You need to stand for something. You need to have morals. You need to stand on something. You need to be consistent. And I vote for a greyhound dog. If it was consistent, period. I vote for anybody out of consistency and they mean something, they stand on something, but I'm not voting for you just because you're black or voting for you just because you're a woman. No, that's out. Because when you're a part of the establishment, you're a part of it. You go in there and you start keying with people, you're a part of that whole thing and you start making deals and all of a sudden you get mesmerized, you get friends. That's human nature. Once you're around a group of people for so long, they become friends. People aren't bad in a sense like when you know them personally, but just because your experience with them is like a whole lot of people say, oh, well, my experience with Donald Trump is good. Everything I know about him, F your experience. Your experience does not override how he's making everyone else feel and how he treats everyone else. That needs to be acknowledged as well. You know what I'm saying? We're done with that. But only in that regard, because I think identity politics is important. Because even for women, like even for gays, like people of color and all these different subcultures that have been prosecuted and persecuted in this country, need to vote for someone that has their interests at heart. That's identity politics I agree with. Just voting with someone because they look familiar, that's out. That's why we only had one president, because white people had control for the longest time and they was voting for somebody that looked like them. What was it Shirley Chisholm? Ran for president. Ain't nobody vote for her. First woman to run for president. They had a list of women that ran for president before, because all the women came out the other day on CNN. They didn't even have Shirley Chisholm on there. Shirley Chisholm. They didn't even have her on there, as if that didn't matter. Jesse Jackson, ain't nobody vote for Jesse. I wouldn't have voted for Jesse either. But ain't nobody vote for Jesse. Shit, even though he killed MLK. No, I'm just playing. Let me see. So let's watch this though.
Biden today. It's new for me. I've been neutral in this primary, but I've been holding out hope for a woman president since 2008. That's not happening, but I'm really comfortable with Joe Biden. I trust him. I've known him for many years. I think he will be a great president, and
I'm comfortable. I've known him for many years. I think that's it. Nothing on policy. I'm comfortable and I've known him. What everybody else is going through. I'm comfortable. I make $1 million a year. I'm part of that 10%. I'm comfortable with him. All y'all homeless people that can't afford rent, people that have to work 2 or 3 jobs to just make it. People wondering day to day how they going to feed their family, how they going to make it through. All that. I'm comfortable. That's all that matters.
Happy to endorse him today.
Thank you for announcing on the show. It is good to have it be transparent.
Nothing about how he's good for the country. Nothing about how he's good for black people. Nothing about how he's good for gays. Nothing about how he's good for people of color. Nothing about how he's good for Medicare for all. Nothing about that. I'm comfortable with him and I like him. I know him.
Put up the lists of problems for both of your people, and we will go point for point. I do not care what either of you has to say about the other campaign. Justify your own. That's what tonight's about. Hillary, I'll start with you.
Okay.
First point on Biden. Past prime. Nice guy. As Meghan McCain said on The View, maybe he is the grief whisperer. He was certainly great to my family when my pop passed, but he's not who he was. We don't see it in the...
They don't want to say cognitive decline is what that means. AKA, something's not there. He's not the same.
Certainly great to my family when my pop passed, but he's not who he was. We don't see it in the energy, and people lack confidence because of that. How do you respond?
Look, I think we are now facing a prospect where one of, a 70-plus-year-old man is going to be the next president of the United States. And I think that they're all pretty comparable in that regard. I'm confident that, Vice President Biden has vigor. He's shown it on the campaign trail. I think that he is, going to be a solid and stable choice. I'm not worried about that.
The moments where he seems to not remember to be on message, where he seems to not be able to say things the right way?
Look, he himself talks about that his old stuttering gets in his way.
You think it's his stuttering? Him saying, I'm running for Senate, that has to do with his stuttering? Really? Him lying, saying that he was arrested with Nelson Mandela, that has to do with studying? Him lying, saying that he marched in the civil rights, that has to do with his studying? His stuttering? He helped desegregate movie theaters, that has to do with his stuttering. Him saying the only reason people like Obama is because he's clean and good and new. Like, as there have been no other black, Martin Luther King wasn't clean, articulate?
He, has a lot of legislative issues that have come up in his campaign and career over the years. Every one of them isn't perfect. The thing about Joe Biden, though, when he gaffes, because we all know he does, you never believe he's lying, right? You just believe that he's moving it across the
We'll get one
the
problem
way.
at a time. Yes, he makes mistakes, but there's more than that. We'll get to it in a second.
He
arguably.
lies.
Nina Turner, your problem.
Chris.
Your man is a socialist. He calls himself a socialist. Doesn't matter if you put Democrat in front of it. It scares people in the country. He refuses to back away from it, and he will be beaten about the head and face with it by the president every day.
Well, it shouldn't scare people. I mean, it's very much in the tradition of President FDR. That is the kind of democratic socialism that he's talking about. And even though FDR didn't necessarily call it that,
that's
when
the
Senator
difference.
Sanders talks about the economic, but Chris, it's in the same spirit. It's in the spirit of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who in his letter to the Birmingham jail warned us being the black community, about white moderates. You know that FDR, the 1944 Economic Bill of Rights, what do the American people have a right to? A decent job, decent housing, being able to take care of people when they have, when they're unemployed or old age, disabilities. These are the things that FDR put forward, and the elites or the corporate Dems of his day came after him, which caused him to say he welcomes their hatred. Senator Bernie Sanders is adding to that, the Green New Deal, Medicare for all.
That's right.
So
And that's the
those
key
are
that you have to deal with, Nina. He is adding to it. And the way that'll be used as a cudgel is, we have never seen spending like this since the New Deal. His attempts to pay for it are incomplete at best. They scare people, Nina, that he is going to change their economic reality for the worse. In the tens of trillions.
Give me a break. I mean, we don't talk enough about corporate welfare, in this country. We don't talk about how we pay for cuts and subsidies to the wealthiest people, the wealthiest companies in this country. But yet when it comes to putting a down payment on Main Street, folks want to raise that issue. Chris, people are suffering in this country. Senator Bernie Sanders is asking them to imagine, to dream a bigger dream. Plus, since we are a hegemon nation, we are a wealthy nation, we're not a poor nation. President Trump gave a $1.6 trillion tax cut to the wealthiest people in this country. That same tax cut could have been used to pay for canceling student debt, which Senator Sanders is pushing for too. So we have the money, we just need to find the wheel.
And you need to find the way to explain to people that it won't be on their back, because that is the fear, that you may say it's going to be the rich, but they won't be.
Those cuts are on their backs. The cuts for the
well, but they think they got a
on their
tax
backs.
cut from Trump, and they think you're going to take it back and then some.
They
That's
did
that's
not.
the challenge. That's the challenge. Now,
Yeah,
back to
I hear
you.
you, but they didn't.
I hear you, but I'm saying that's what you got to deal with. And Hillary, on your side, what you have to deal with is decades of controversial votes that look bad. And that go along with stories of commitment to social justice and moments in his past that may not be accurate. And each one will be pointed out.
I love how he says that may not be accurate, instead of just calling it what it is. Where he lied may not be accurate. I wish somebody would have gave me that consideration when I was younger. Some things that you said, Ty, that may not be accurate. I know, we ain't gonna call it a lie. It may not be accurate.
By the president. You did the crime bill. Each one will be pointed out by the president. You did the crime bill. Obama was thinking about it when he was like 11 or whatever the president said today, that Obama was thinking about the crime bill too. I know it's BS, but it's how Biden deals with it. You said you were arrested when you were with Mandela. I don't think so. You say that you were trained to be a protester and suffered. We don't think so. How do you deal with the record of votes and of stories that don't hold up?
Nina referenced Dr. Martin Luther King before, saying that he said from the Birmingham jail that we should be concerned about white moderates. That's actually not what Martin Luther King said. What he said is we should be worried about the silence of white moderates.
Are you kidding me?
Nina, wait.
No, she's making a language point.
What he said was we should worry about the silence of white moderates. And what we have in Joe Biden is a man who is not silent. he has a long record, and many votes that in today's world feel like the wrong thing were the wrong thing, and he has discussed that over and over again, as Bernie Sanders did on the gun votes and other things. So we can be talking about votes from 20 years ago, or we can be talking about people's values and who they trust.
Last quick
and
point.
that's what Joe Biden's going to be talking about.
Last quick point to you, Nina.
What Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about, he said it is the point that the white moderate wants things to be comfortable, and instead of focusing in on that, the bigger threat is not necessarily the white KKK member, but more the white moderate that is more comfortable with keeping things. And then she wants to jump in on me and give
First
me
of
a
all, it's
certain
not nobody
interpretation.
jumping
I'm
in
not
on
using
anybody.
it.
You guys
I'm
are
not
in the
using
same
Reverend
party.
Dr. Martin Luther
This
King
is
Jr.
what you guys have
at
to
all.
figure out. You're in the same party. And let me tell you, you better keep that same energy when you're up against Trump that you have against each other, because he is bigger and badder than I think you guys are ready for. But let's agree on this about Dr. King. Only light can drive out darkness. Only love can drive out hate. That is the challenge for the Democrats, to show that that's what you represent against this president. I wish you both good luck going forward. You are always welcome here to make the case to my audience. Nina Turner, be well.
Thank you.
Hillary
Take
Rosen,
care.
thank you for the
Take
announcement.
care, Nina.
Be well.
I guarantee Nina Turner called her a bitch after that. That bitch, I can't believe that bitch gonna act like she gonna tell me what the hell you gonna do? What? You gonna tell me? Hey, isn't that crazy though? White people do feel that like they just, white people, they feel like they can just say and do whatever the fuck they want to do. They're so privileged and like you can be, oh, what are you doing? They can just ask, what's going on? Just dip into anything. How you gonna tell her she can't use Dr. Martin Luther King? Dr. Martin Luther King died for her. That's her ancestor. Period. She can say everything because she ain't taking it out of context. They dug in her ass on Twitter. Hold on. Let's see what they talking about on Twitter. Let's see. Nina Turner first. Y'all can see this, making sure. Let's go in. What Nina talking about? So Nina Turner, she says, Hillary, you don't just talk over me. You don't talk over me, heifer. Go back and watch the segment. You said, amongst other things, that I didn't have the standing. Like, I don't have the standing. What are you saying? I don't have the standing. What does that mean? What, I haven't achieved enough for you to be able to say that I have the standing to talk about Martin Luther King as it relates to white moderates in this country? Is that what you're saying? That I haven't impressed you enough? Wrap your mind around that. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, I speak of, challenged the status quo. He spoke out on militarism, materialism, poverty, and racism. And she put her tweet there, but she took the tweet down. The tweet said something. I was looking online. I ain't see nobody that took a frame of that tweet. Her tweet said something about her being angry and black. And here go Hillary. I'm horrified. Okay. All right, I'm playing games. Look. I'm trying to mimic their voice as if I'm horrified that anyone would think that I would call Nina Turner an angry black woman. I would never. After the TV hit last night, I was getting tons of ugly messages to keep fighting her using that phrase. I was trying to tell people to stop because I knew I needed to apologize. You damn right you needed to apologize. Outside, even if she didn't say it, I don't know what she said about being an angry black woman. I didn't see nothing like that. But even if what she said is you don't have the standing. Who the fuck are you? I don't have the standing? What are you talking about? I don't have the standing? What? He ain't died for me? He didn't die because white people couldn't go in a diner and eat with other black people, or white people couldn't catch the same bus as other white people, or drink out of the same water, or go to the same schools, or even read for that matter. What you mean? Who you talking to? You ain't got the standing. Lucky I can't reach through this. I know Nina Turner's like, you lucky I can't reach through this daggone in television, daggone automobile. I'll snatch your ass up. That's what she's saying. That's what I said.
Nina Turner, obviously of the Bernie Sanders campaign, welcome, good to see you. Hillary Rosen, CNN contributor, good to have you as well. I am assuming that you are taking the Biden side of the debate because...
I am. I'm endorsing Joe Biden today. It's new for me. I've been neutral in this primary, but, you know, I've been holding out hope for a woman president since 2008. That's not happening, but I'm really comfortable with Joe Biden. I trust him. I've known him for many years. I think he will be a great president, and I'm totally happy to endorse him today.
Thank you for announcing on the show. It is good to have it be transparent. I'm going to put up the lists of problems for both of your people, and we will go point for point. I do not care what either of you has to say about the other campaign. Justify your own. That's what tonight's about. Hillary, I'll start with you.
Okay.
First point on Biden. Past prime. Nice guy. As Meghan McCain said on The View, maybe he is the grief whisperer. He was certainly great to my family when my pop passed, but he's not who he was. We don't see it in the energy, and people lack confidence because of that. How do you respond?
Look, I think we are now facing a prospect where one of, a 70-plus-year-old man is going to be the next president of the United States. And I think that they're all pretty comparable in that regard. I'm confident that, Vice President Biden has vigor. He's shown it on the campaign trail. I think that he is, going to be a solid and stable choice. I'm not worried about that.
The moments where he seems to not remember to be on message, where he seems to not be able to say things the right way?
Look, he himself talks about that his old stuttering gets in his way, that he, has a lot of legislative issues that have come up in his campaign and career over the years. Every one of them isn't perfect. The thing about Joe Biden, though, when he gaffes, because we all know he does, you never believe he's lying. Right? You just believe that he's moving it across the way.
We'll get one problem at a time. Yes, he makes mistakes, but there's more than that. We'll get to it in a second, arguably. Nina Turner, your problem.
Chris.
Your man is a socialist. He calls himself a socialist. Doesn't matter if you put Democrat in front of it. It scares people in the country. He refuses to back away from it, and he will be beaten about the head and face with it by the president every day.
Well, it shouldn't scare people. I mean, it's very much in the tradition of President FDR. That is the kind of democratic socialism that he's talking about. And even though FDR didn't necessarily call it that,
that's
when
the
Senator
difference.
Sanders talks about the economic, but Chris, it's in the same spirit. It's in the spirit of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who in his letter to the Birmingham jail warned us being...
Look at her face. You better clean your face up, woman. She got that face like, what?
In the black community about white moderates. You know that FDR, the 1944 Economic Bill of Rights, what do the American people have a right to? A decent job, decent housing, being able to take care of people when they have, when they're unemployed or old age, disabilities. These are the things that FDR put forward, and the elites or the corporate Dems of his day came after him, which caused him to say he welcomes their hatred. Senator Bernie Sanders is adding to that, the Green New Deal, Medicare for all.
That's right.
So
And that's the key that you have to deal with, Nina. He is adding to it. And the way that'll be used as a cudgel is, we have never seen spending like this since the New Deal. His attempts to pay for it are incomplete at best. They scare people, Nina, that he is going to change their economic reality for the worse. In the tens of trillions.
Give me a break. I mean, we don't talk enough about...
He's scared of 1%. Yeah, he's gonna tax them. That's who he's scared. He's talking about himself. He's scaring people. That's the elite, the people that's really going to have money taken out. It's not going to be middle class people or anything. It's going to be the rich. That's why they're paranoid.
Corporate welfare, in this country. We don't talk about how we pay for cuts and subsidies to the wealthiest people, the wealthiest companies in this country. But yet when it comes to putting a down payment on Main Street, folks want to raise that issue. Chris, people are suffering in this country. Senator Bernie Sanders is asking them to imagine, to dream a bigger dream. Plus, since we are a hegemon nation, we are a wealthy nation, we're not a poor nation. President Trump gave a $1.6 trillion tax cut to the wealthiest people in this country. That same tax cut could have been used to pay for canceling student debt, which Senator Sanders is pushing for too. So we have the money, we just need to find the wheel.
And you need to find the way to explain to people that it won't be on their back, because that is the fear. That you may say it's going to be the rich, but they won't be.
Those cuts are on their backs. The cuts for the.
Well, but
that's really the key, isn't it? Yeah, you're going to take my money. That's what she said. That's really the key, isn't it? That's the key, Cuomo. They're trying to dig into our pockets. Our pockets. F them homeless people.
They think they got a tax cut from Trump, and they think you're going to take it back and then some. That's the challenge. That's the challenge.
Mind you, think about what he just said. Think about what he just said right now. This will let you know who he's referring to. He said they just got a tax break from Donald Trump. They fear that you're going to take it from them. The only people that got a tax break was the richest people in this country. All those people that own these large corporations that make over $15 billion a year got a tax break, or even 3, because Trump is worth 3 and he got a huge tax break with it as well. He think you're going to take that tax break back. It's not talking about us. Please understand. He just said it right there. Let's hear that. Let's hear Cuomo again.
Say it's going to be the rich, but they won't be.
Too. So we have the money, we just need to find the wheel.
And you need to find the way to explain to people that it won't be on their back, because that is the fear. That you may say it's going to be the rich, but they won't be.
Those cuts are on their backs. The cuts for the
well, but they think they got a tax cut from Trump, and they think you're going to take it back and then some. That's the challenge. That's the challenge. Now, back to you.
But they didn't.
I hear you, but I'm saying that's what you got to deal with. And Hillary, on your side, what you have to deal with is decades of controversial votes that look bad. And that go along with stories of commitment to social justice and moments in his past that may not be accurate. And each one will be pointed out by the president. You did the crime bill. Obama was thinking about it when he was like 11, or whatever the president said today, that Obama was thinking about the crime bill too. I know it's BS, but it's how Biden deals with it. You said you were arrested when you were with Mandela. I don't think so. You say that you were trained to be a protester.
I love how he says, I don't think so, instead of saying, lie. You said that you was protesting, lie. Not, I don't think so. He's so nice. Cuomo's so nice.
When you were with Mandela, I don't think so. You say that you were trained to be a protester and suffered. We don't think so. How do you deal with the record of votes and of stories that don't hold up?
You know, Nina referenced Dr. Martin Luther King before, saying that he said from the Birmingham jail that we should be concerned about white moderates. That's actually not what Martin Luther King said.
That actually is what he said.
What he said is we should be worried about the silence
Dr. Martin
of
Luther
white
King
moderates.
Jr. Are you kidding me?
Nina, wait.
No, she's making a language point.
What he said was we should worry about the silence of white moderates. And what we have in Joe Biden is a man who is not silent.
So is that not saying you should be worried about white moderates? You want to mix words, tomato, tomato. We should be worried about the silence of white moderates. What's the difference? You just trying to make a point?
He has a long record, and many votes that in today's world feel like the wrong thing were the wrong thing, and he has discussed that over and over again, as Bernie Sanders did on the gun votes and other things. So we can be talking about votes from 20 years ago, or we can be talking about people's values and who they trust.
Last quick point.
And that's what Joe Biden's going to be talking about.
Last quick point to you, Nina.
What Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about, he said it is the point that the white moderate wants things to be comfortable, and instead of focusing in on that, the bigger threat is not necessarily the white KKK member, but more the white moderate that is more comfortable with keeping things the same or pretending like there is.
Thank you. Don't play games. I'm about to look that up, and we're gonna go through that. She's gonna say, "Don't look." Who are you, half woman?
White moderate that is more comfortable with keeping things the same or pretending like there is no tension.
Don't use Martin Luther King against Joe Biden. You don't have that. You don't have that standing.
First of all,
I'm sorry, you don't.
Don't tell me what kind of standing I have as a black woman in America. How dare you?
You have a lot of standing as a black woman in America. You don't have the standing to attack Joe Biden using Martin Luther King's words.
I didn't attack anybody. You're taking it that way. Listen, don't dip into what I have to say about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. How dare you, as a white woman, sit up here and try to tell me,
that is not what I said.
try to tell me
Nina,
how I'm supposed
Hillary,
to feel and what I'm doing right
I'm
now.
out of time on this.
That's something. Chris, I didn't jump in on her,
Nina,
though. And then she wants to jump in on me.
Okay,
and
first of all, it's not
I ain't jumping in on her, though. I ain't jumping in on her, though. Say something to her. I ain't jumping in on her, though. Look. That black coming out of her right now. I ain't jump in on her, though. Tell her to say something. I ain't jump in on her, though. Tell her something. Nina went all the way black on him right quick one time. But I ain't jump in on her, though. Tell her something. That's funny.
Now, you guys are in the same party. This is what you guys have to figure out. You're in the same party. And let me tell you.
I would love to hear like what's going on in her head right now. The shit that she thinking that she not saying right now, nigga. Bet she calling her all type of shit.
You better keep that same energy when you're up against Trump that you have against each other, because he is bigger and badder than I think you guys are ready for. But let's agree on this about Dr. King. Only light can drive out darkness. Only love can drive out hate. That is the challenge for the Democrats, to show that that's what you represent against this president. I wish you both good luck going forward. You are always welcome here to make the case to my audience. Nina Turner, be well.
Thank you.
Hillary Rosen, thank you for the announcement.
Take care, Nina.
Be well.
You know what's crazy? Like, how do you come off that and smile and be well? I'm like, I ain't well. I ain't well. What you mean be well? I ain't well. But I ain't well, though. You be well. What you mean? Oh, man, she had Nina out. What? Don't you, what? What? No, her. She talking over me, though. Tell her, though. That's funny. That's funny. Let's see what Dr. Martin Luther King actually said about white moderates. Let's see if we can find it on YouTube. We'll probably get a video. Yeah, okay. White moderate. I know it had to be. It was. She was trending today. White moderate speech. Here it is. I knew it had to be like top of the top because it had to been trending. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Y'all ain't even hearing it.
An outright rejection.
Let me play this again. Damn, I hate when I do that. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can find an actual thing. This is great. I'm actually about to. There you go.
First, I must confess that over the past few years I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the white citizens' counselor or the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically believes he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection.
What that sound like to you? You tell me. You tell me. What that sound like to you? Nina Turner went in. Y'all had her hot. Y'all, you better stop playing with Nina Turner. She ain't got no time for all this mess. Here you go, Joe Biden.
The American Negro, is that not how you say it? The Negro in America. Come on, Joe.
I don't buy the concept popular in the 60s, which said we have suppressed the black man for 300 years and the white man is now far ahead in the race for everything we offer in this society.
We decided we were going to change the world, and we did. We did. We finished the civil rights movement to the first stage.
Word.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
We must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malfactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change their behavior. That's why we do in this bill. We have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail. Away from my mother, your husband, our families. We would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist. Evidence of that, the Democratic senator from Delaware.
Bobby Rush, member of Congress, said the other day, I'm ashamed that I voted for the '94 crime bill. You ashamed of that bill?
Not at all. And in fact, I drafted the bill.
Ooh. Now the 2020 campaign.
Joe Biden is almost certain to run for president in 2020.
Wait to see if Biden is going to get into this race, and if so, when?
As Joe Biden is about to announce.
Bring on Biden.
Dang it.
I haven't always been right. I know we haven't always gotten things right. Back in 2010, Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. It was a big mistake when it was made. We thought we were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
Goddamn pickaninny.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statusquo.com.
Crack,
where
you
can
never
sign up
go
for
back. They told us crack. That's what the experts said. If the expert says crack, you never go back, what's the disparity for? Why not just not have any laws? And hey, they're never going to go back, so it'll be a one-time deal. Stop them on the wrist and let them go. Because obviously, he was lying. That's my time. I'm a little nervous to go sleep now because I got a flight early in the morning. So I'm going to just pack, get ready. But I will see you. I'm going to try to go live while I'm in Michigan. I will see you in Michigan for the Democratic primary. And let's get them burning. That's all I got to say. We out, baby. Oh, remember, follow us, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. I'm going to start doing some cuts and editing these so I can start promoting this channel more and do some copywriting on my page so we can get ranked by Google. But, yeah, check us out. Check us out, baby. We out here. We out here. You know? But that's the size of it. I'll let you tomorrow. Or Sunday. Or Monday.